Hello there. Today I got an inspection on my house. We had an inspector come through because we just wanted to know all of the things that needed to happen and, like what do we need to fix in the house? And we wanted to know if there was any big issues that were going to cause us problems, like foundation or structural issues, or, we needed a new furnace immediately. Turns out we need a new hot water tank immediately. So he like turned it off because the hot water tank is like 22 years old or something like that. Like it's so old. So we need a new one of those. Um, but otherwise, it was very good news. We were very lucky, in my opinion, that it really didn't come back with too much. We need to get a hot water tank, like I said. We'll need to get a new furnace, but probably not for another 4 or 5 years or so. And there's a weird duct thing happening in the ceiling, but he said that's not, like, it needs to be fixed, but not a big deal. So excellent news, in my opinion. Plus, we got a long list of things for Ryan to do as a house manager, which he's actually excited about. So I'm happy for him. But all of this inspection talk has got me thinking about, how do you know when your business might be in trouble? Because when I look at my house, I have ideas, I guess, as to what is good and what's not, whether my house might be in trouble or not, but I really don't know, right? Like, I looked at my hot water tank and I was like, that thing looks excellent, so it can't possibly be from 1998, which is what it said on the side, and the guy like took a picture underneath. I was like, yeah, definitely from 1998. And I was like, ooh, okay. I guess things from 1998 can still be clean on the outside, which is basically the only thing I had to go on because I don't know anything about hot water tanks. So what are the ways that you can tell if your business is in trouble? Because we have different seasons in our business, especially this year. It's been very up and down, mostly down this year. And so how do we know? How do we know if it's time to pack it in for real, pack it in for good? So the number one thing that I would look for in a business is dwindling cash flow. So what that means is you're having trouble paying suppliers. Maybe you're having trouble getting payroll together on time. Maybe your suppliers are telling you that they're only going to supply to you. That's a weird way to deliver if it's cash on delivery. Maybe they've cut you off entirely. Your bills are piling up. You're not able to pay your bills. And it feels like you just cannot keep money in the bank. That is a really big sign that your company is in trouble. Cash flow is tough for any small business, but if you're consistently having problems with cash flow, that could be a sign that that your business is in trouble. The subsidies that have come out recently can point to a business being in trouble too. So let me explain. The fact that you qualify for a subsidy does not mean your business is in trouble. But if you're relying on that subsidy to get through this period, but you don't really know how you're going to be able to continue on after the subsidies stop, like you're not able to get to a point where you don't need to lean on those subsidies, then is when those subsidies end, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And that's going to go back to cash flow. When you're not receiving those subsidies, you're suddenly not going to be able to pay for, payroll or the non-deferrable expenses like rent and stuff like that. So if you're leaning on these subsidies and you're not really sure what business is going to look like or how you're going to maintain your business when they end, that can be a sign that you're potentially in trouble. That's not to say that you shouldn't apply for subsidies. I definitely think that you should if you're qualified, but there's a difference between a subsidy and a strategy, right? So the subsidy supports the business and allows us to continue, like, bridge to a place where we know that we're going to be a going concern. Like it's going to generate positive cash flow. That's very different than having the subsidy but not really knowing where you're going when the subsidy ends. This is all sort of related to cash flow. Cash is a really big indicator of your company's health. So if you're getting pressured from your suppliers, then because you haven't been paying or whatever, and these subsidies suddenly end, you've kind of got these two things happening at the same time. That could be really bad. If you have loans with banks or other secured creditors, and you have assets that they've taken as collateral, so maybe like a mortgage, or you've got a car loan or something like that, you need to be able to generate a positive cash flow so that you're staying on side with them, because a lot of times they'll have covenants, right? So they'll say, okay, we're going to lend you this money, but you have to be able to prove that you're cash flow positive over the course of the loan, or maybe they've got ratios or something that you need to meet. So it's really, really important that you understand what those requirements are from your lenders and that you stay on side with them, because if you're not able to do that, that's a big sign that your company could be in trouble. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about today is your commitment to the business. I know that that's a tough one to evaluate, and there's not really a number that you can put to that, but entrepreneurs are notoriously optimistic, and we like to invest in our company, and we believe that it's going to work, and we're going to get through this. It's just going to be hard for a little while, and then we're going to get through it. It's going to be great. We're going to take off. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes it's not. And so if you're feeling like you're not 100% committed to it anymore, or maybe it's starting to feel like it's a lot more work than the return that you're getting from it, or you just start to have a feeling that's like, maybe this isn't going to work, and you're having cash flow issues. Usually it's because you're having cash flow issues. That could be a really big sign that the business is not gonna make it. And I think it's really, really important to understand this about a business before it gets to the point where payroll's coming out tomorrow and you literally can't pay it, because the earlier that you catch something like this, and the earlier that you're able to hire a professional to help you, then the more options that you have to be able to resolve the situation, because bankruptcy is not the only option. It's definitely not the first option. I don't recommend it unless you you've exhausted all your options. So it's definitely worth it to hire a professional insolvency person, not necessarily an accountant. Sometimes accountants do that, but not every accountant does. I don't do that. I don't do insolvency work. Because they structure credit deals and that kind of thing. So if you are feeling like I spoke to you, these things are happening in your company, and you're feeling like maybe it's time, then I would speak to an insolvency professional and just see what kind of options you have. Even if you're not sure, they can support you in telling you what your options are, and then you'll know for the future. And then, if you do decide to make the decision to close up the company, then at least you have all the information that you need to make good choices or make strategic choices, and be able to just not have to go bankrupt. I hope this wasn't you. I hope I didn't speak to you. I hope that your company is doing well. I hope you're doing well as an individual. And if you have any questions about this, or you want to chat with me more about cash flow issues and what really indicates a cash flow problem, because not being able to, having low cash just 1 month is not really an indication. It's sort of a trend that you're looking for. So if you want to chat with me about that, leave a comment in the comments. Leave a comment in the comments. And if you'd like newsletters sent to you every week, then I've left a link to my free newsletter in the description. I hope you're doing well, like I said, and I'll see you tomorrow.